Okay.
Alright.
What?
So,
Nobody. That's it.
Oh.
The 2 o'clock I canceled her. I didn't like her as much. I didn't think she was going to be as good as the guy. I didn't know that Vladimir was going to stay out. I was really worried that Vladimir would walk in and she would be here. He never stays out. I didn't think Vladimir would stay out all day, and I was nervous about him running in, but
okay. Teddy, what do you think? Is that
perfect. It's wonderful. Great.
okay?
Excellent.
Is there more?
No, perfect,
Okay.
perfect.
All right. So,
So where did you start? Where did we left off?
No,
Okay. So-
not where we left off. Start from when you were a kid in Poland, right?
So
At the beginning of the war.
I'll tell you, this is to leave a legacy and a story for your family. I could never know what the stories that my father didn't record, so this is for your kids to know. So tell us where you're born, who your parents were, their names, and your history.
Okay. I was born in Poland, the town called Będzin. My father's name was Moshe. Mother's name was Liba. Sister, Mendel. The oldest brother, Tuvia. The second one was Leibish. And then I came. In Yiddish was Zalman. And when I went to Israel, they changed the name to Shimon. Why? I have no idea. Then we had a younger brother. He was 7 months old, maybe 6 months old. When the Germans came in, they put us in the ghetto. After that, they took us separated, the men, the women separated, and they took us down to the stadium. Men separate by age, by height, whatever it was, but nobody knew what's going to happen. So one of my brothers, Leibish, went to Auschwitz. I and my father and my oldest brother, Tuvia, was sent to a camp called Carabin. Supposedly it was close to the Czechoslovakian border. I have no idea if that's what it was, but that's what he told us.
How old were you when you went there?
At that time, I was 12 years old, but there was one German officer. I don't know what they called them. The Germans called them the Luftwaffe people. The Luftwaffe people, I don't know what they call them in the United States, but you know, like each town had their own people in case sirens or something coming up. They directed people where to go to hide. He was maybe in the 60s years old, and he came over to me and he says, you know, you're the youngest, I know you're not 14. He said, but you have to tell the SS officer when he comes. He asks you how old you are. You tell him you're 14. And that's it. Don't know what you have to tell him. Because otherwise, they will send you with your father and you don't know where he's going. They're not going to tell you. So my father, I really don't know where he was taken, but he was taken because that particular German officer, because my father started to have gangrene on his left foot. So he put him in a, like a, not a hospital, like a, not to go to work, in the camp. And a few days later he come, he said, there's tomorrow going to come the SS people to sort out which one goes where. So they took my father, they took a lot of other people, but we never saw him again.
And how old were you when this happened? You were
12.
12?
Well,
You were 12 years old.
yeah.
And
But
where was your mother at this point?
my mother was in Poland with the little baby. And when they started to clean out Poland, the city, one of the Poles was hiding my mother out and the baby. But it got so close that they threatened anybody who hides a Jewish person will get shot. So the Poles starting to tell the Germans what is what. And the Germans, so that Pole took the baby and his wife and he ran away from the city because all the people in the neighborhood knew that this is not his baby.
Uh-huh.
So he left the city.
He stole the baby.
And the baby, the mother couldn't save. We don't know where she went, what's happened. And my sister, she was sent to the camp, not to Auschwitz. The reason she was sent to a camp, because the governor's son came over by the house and it assaulted my mom and she didn't know what to say, so he hit her. So my sister went over and says to him, is it allowed to hit? And he said yes. So she put her hand out with the fist and smacked him in the face. So the police came to take her away. So she saw the police. When I asked him if it's allowed to hit, and he said yes. So I hit him. And he took her away. But she had a boyfriend, and it happened that she met him in the same camp what he was. And something happened to him, and she did a stupid thing again. She went over and she hit the couple. The couple was a Jewish guy. She hit him, and he reported it to the SS. We don't know what's happened to her.
So you never saw her again? And when you talked about the baby the last time, you told me something where they offered to take care of the baby for your mother?
Yeah.
Before your mother gave the baby, what did you say that?
Well, the baby, she didn't give it away voluntarily, but she figured, I have to give it away because otherwise he's dying with me.
Right.
And he happened to be a very good Pole, a very good person,
Yeah.
that he even offered to help.
Right.
But
You never heard it from the baby again. You never found the baby again.
when I found out and what town he moved,
Oh.
but I was advised not to get involved, to leave it alone.
When?
This was in 1978. That particular Pole, he was a conductor on a train. Okay, he was bringing in merchandise to the camps for the SS. And suddenly, we happened to be in this camp. And we recognized each other. And what he said to me at that time, I told him, my father's gone. Oh, me and my brother. He said,
All that's left from the family at that point was you and your brother.
right. Well, one brother was in Auschwitz, so I don't know what's happened to him. So he says to me, look, Your little boy brother lives with me. We hide him. And your mother, they couldn't say that. So I don't know where she is, but I know she had been taken away because it got to a point in Poland that he said even my own neighbors could say to the Germans that I'm holding a Jewish child and they might kill him and kill me. So we had to leave the town. And after the war in 45, around 45, I went to Poland. How did I go to Poland? I went to a town called Brunswick. That was, the Russians occupied that. And from there, we had to get a guide, one of those Poles or the Russians, to show us which forest takes you into Poland. So he said, there is no forest. He said, the only thing that takes you into Poland, he said, you have to get to a town called, the war started because of that town. I can't, what is it? I can't remember. Poznan. That's where the harbor is, the big harbor. And the Germans had the border there. And they wanted from Poland to give up that harbor in the thing. So Poland said no. So they invaded Poland completely. So he said, if you get to Brunswick, from Brunswick into the other side, the river, he said, you can catch a train with no passenger train, just cargo trains. Jump on it, and you get off where you need to get off. And that's what I did. Because I went to the town where we were born, lived, so I was looking for family. So I couldn't find nobody. Couldn't find even friends.
You were 17 then?
No, I was going on 14 maybe.
Oh.
And so I got up in the town. I remember my aunt, she was a Hebam, call it, you know what she helped delivering babies.
Midwife.
I remembered where she lived, okay? So when the train come by her town, I jumped down and I went across the street and went to the house where she lived. So the people say, well, she doesn't live here no more, but we don't know where she is, or what we know, she went to concentration camp. So I said, nobody knows. She didn't come back here. There's a lot of people who are out for concentration camp. They didn't want to, she came back, they knew she's back, but they didn't want to tell me where she lives because they were good friends. She brought their children in, you know. So when I was going down, one of the ladies came over and said, just follow me and I tell you where they live. I did that. She took me over to the building, said that's where they live, in that building. So I went in, I see the end, and I said, where's your daughter? Her name was Nina or something like that. No. She said, well, she is working, but nobody knows she's a Jew. So you got to be very careful if you talk to her, what you say. And while I'm turning around, and I said to her, where's Uncle Leah? She said, well, he joined the Russian army, but he's alive. I said, do you know where he is? She says, well, I know, but I don't think it's a good idea for you to go there. So I was sitting with her, and then I said, well, I'm going to go out and see who I can find from the neighbors. Who comes? A soldier walks. And that soldier happened to be my uncle. And I said, Uncle Lewkowicz, what are you in the uniform? He said, zoek nicht gut, red nicht Yiddish, red Polish.
Because the Polacks at the time killed the Jews.
So they went into the house, we were talking, and I said to him, how long are you planning to be in the army? He said, I'm already out of the army, but I kept the uniform. So when I walk in the street in uniform, nobody bothers me. So he said, where did you come from? I said, I came from Germany. He said, where? I said, I was in Bergen-Belsen. I went over to Berlin and tried to see contact how I can get to Poland to see if I can find anybody from the family. I said, what are we going to do? He said, what we're going to do, I don't know yet. But, he said, they're going to work out something. I said, did you go to our town? He said, no. I said, why? He said, there's a family what calls Lewkowicz. He said, except writing, they spell the name the way name. He said, I didn't go there because I didn't want somebody recognize me and say he is a Jew. So I said, well, I'm going there because I got to see him, because I have to find out what's happening. So I went there. The mother, her husband got shot by the Germans. The children, they took the daughter, they took the oldest daughter, they sent her to one of the concentration camps. But not the two younger children. Why? The mother was part German, but she married a Jew. So they let her slide by. They told her you cannot. So the children, that a boy and a girl, they joined the Germans, and they became worse than any German. The mother says, don't talk to them, don't say nothing, because they might get you in trouble.
They'll sell you out.
So, and the older brother of them got married with a Polish girl and lived in the town, next town to ours, called Sosnowiec. And my brother, Lewkowicz, he went to America, and he sent papers for him to come as a tourist. And he told us where the younger brother is. He's the one to find out.
Wow.
But he said, do not go there. He said, maybe you get married. Maybe he has a girlfriend. Maybe he has some children. He said, maybe this wife doesn't know that he's a Jew, because he grew up with a Polish family. It's going to be not healthy to bring up something that it might cause more damage than it's worth it. He said, what if you see him and he says, I got a family, I cannot go to America.
So you left well enough alone?
He said, what are you going to say to him? What if he says, okay, I go to America, but you have to take the whole family? He said, what are you going to say? He said, so the best thing is, leave it alone. It's healthier for him. It's healthier for you. And that's what's really happened.
Wow. So how long were you in Bergen-Belsen for?
Bergen-Belsen was, if you remember, I told you, they were in Auschwitz. Not Auschwitz. was not Leipzig.
How many camps were you in?
Wait, I forgot I told you the name on it.
The first camp you said
Hmm?
something with a K? Karavian? Something with a K, I think.
No.
Didn't come back.
Well, whatever. So, but overall, how many camps do you remember being in?
From Corvin, Gross Maslowitz. From Corvin, we went to Gross Maslowitz. And Gross Maslowitz that's the camp we met that Polish conductor for the thing, because he came in. Over there, what we were doing in Gross Maslowitz, making all kind of the camouflage thing for the army. You know, aeroplanes, tanks, from wood, everything from wood made, you know, to that. But what's happened, it's got to get very close for the Germans. The Russians were pushing very, very hard. So they start moving us.
Right.
So, but they didn't have transportation, so we had to walk from one town to another town.
Mm-hmm.
So we came to the next town. Was
Just wait a second, wait till it stops. I don't know how to use it. Okay, good. Okay, go on. I'm sorry. Continue.
so that old man, the German, what he was from the Luftwaffe watching over us. He said, I got some bad news. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow, the Gestapo is coming. Do you want to march with us, take over? But we didn't know why. So we got in the next town. It was a farm town. So they put us in a barn over there. So we stay overnight, so they can watch us easier. And that Gestapo walks over to that old man. He says, we have to kill him here, all of them. There's no chances, because they got no transportation to keep moving them. So he had a higher rank than that Gestapo. So he said, you will not kill nobody here. They undermine control. If you do anything, I will report you to higher authorities. They deal with you. So he walked away. Next day we didn't see him. And from there, he moved to another town. And that town, it was already, I think, on the German territory. We went to that camp called Dachau. That mountain was so strong, so high, the Americans bombarded it for 2 weeks. They couldn't cut through. Why? Because underneath that's where the Germans were building the U-2 bombs. And on Britain they were sending them. But then the Russians kept pushing farther. And over there, whoever worked inside in the tunnel, never came out alive. The gas, they couldn't breathe, it choked them. So there was a few days time before we kept moving. So they start pulling out all the dead people from the inside. How do we get rid of them? So what they decided, they will put 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, take black tar, you know what to use on the roads, pour over them,
Oh gosh,
and then keep going,
another layer.
gotta stack way up. And what he did, before we left the camp, we lighted it.
Wow.
The reason they lighted it, because so it doesn't smell from humans, that the neighbors know about it. But the Russians came, that's what they found.
Thank God.
And from over there, they took us to Lewkowicz. Lewkowicz, they put us in trains. But so we figured this is at the end, so we had no other choice. Then we found out from one of the Germans, they were talking, and we were sitting in the trains. He said, the Americans bombarding the railroad tracks. They won't be able to move. But they don't bombard the camps.
Huh.
They avoiding the camps, they bombard the tracks.
Yeah.
So they took us to another station, transferred us over, and they took us to Bergen-Belsen. Bergen-Belsen was a military camp, but the whole army left. There was no army left. The only army what was left was that German what was watching over us, and the other two were with him. So he came 2 days before the British came in, and he said, don't eat the food. Don't break in the warehouses because the food is poison. You all go and die if you eat it. The British came in, and that's what it really was. The British started to tell us not to eat the food, but we already knew about it. So they started to get the Germans together, so the people went out, and they said, look, this man saved our life. He told us not to eat. He was watching over us that we don't get hurt from the SS. They made him mayor in a town. I think it was Lewkowicz or something close to it. They made him mayor of the town.
Okay, nice.
A lot of people got sick. I got sick. My brother, the oldest brother, was with me all the time. We didn't get separated. And this was Bergen-Belsen, was where the military camp was. And a little bit farther down was the death camp. And I didn't feel good. I developed typhus. So I was laying over there. And while I'm laying in bed, my brother comes in, the oldest brother, and I said to him, did you see Lewkowicz? He said, no, I had nicht gesehen Lewkowicz. He's under the bed. I said, look, he's hiding under the bed. He looks. He said, I don't see Lewkowicz. So I was laying there and I didn't know what to say. So comes in a man, I don't know who he is or what he was, and he said, what's your name? Wie heißt he? I said, Lewkowicz. Zalman. Lewkowicz. He said, do you have a brother? You got a brother? Lewkowicz? I said, yeah. Oh, he's in death camp. He's in the death camp. I said, what is he doing in the death camp? He said, he's pulling the dead people from the ground, throwing them in the hole. And, big thing.
Yeah.
So this man says, I'm going back there. Wittenberg.
Ooh.
A Jew. And every Friday, the owner of the factory used to go by the cemetery where the poor people sitting, and he used to go to the bank, like bags with coins, and throw out for them. My other brother, two years older, he started to work also, do with the man what he was doing, gutters and stuff like that for houses, for the villages. So he worked for them. What Lewkowicz was doing, I don't even remember.
So when you were little, you were what number in your?
1, 2, 3, 4.
You were number 4. And so when you were born, your house was a happy house?
Was a normal house living. You know, my father worked, two-year work. I don't remember what my sister was doing. My sister was just helping in the house with mom.
How did it feel? How did the house feel? Was it a happy house?
Yeah, was no problems. You know, we were respecting everybody in the house. You know, they were respecting whatever the eldest person said.
Yeah.
When my brothers, the oldest brother said so, that was that. That's it. No questions, no nothing. This is it.
Did they observe? Were they Jewishly practicing observant Jews?
Yeah, no, we was to go Shabbos to the synagogue. My mom was come Friday. She was sitting, cutting up papers, you know, for the toilet, so we don't have to tear the papers because it's Shabbos. You can tear papers.
Wow.
You know, everybody was following the rules because in Poland those days you didn't have a washroom in the house. You didn't have a washroom in the house. The washroom was outside. You know, the toilet was outside.
Oh,
So she put the paper over there for Shabbos, so we don't have to cut it. We had Shabbos coming in Shaygets, where they lit the oven for cooking. You know,
how big was the house?
it was two bedroom, 2 rooms.
2 rooms, and everybody slept.
You know, the boys slept together, you know, in one room.
And the girls slept together.
Yeah. You know, it was there was no problems really.
So,
And you know, there was nobody millionaires in that town because there was only one millionaire, and that was the guy who owned the factory. You know, he was a really nice guy. You know, when the war broke out, he talked to the Russians, and the Russians gave him permission to fly his plane into Russia. He came to the Russian border, they shut him down.
they killed him.
Shut him down.
How big was the town?
There was more Jewish people living in that town than Goyim.
How many?
There was, I think, 16,000 Jews, and the rest of them was Poles.
What's the name of the town?
Bendin.
Pendin.
Bendin. There was about around 30,000 people altogether.
Did you go to school there?
Started to go to school, but the Germans made it very quickly known.
But you were born in what year?
I was born in 1927.
Just like you. So when the Germans came, you were 12.
I started to learn putting on tefillin. I never forget that.
Yeah.
Okay?
That was for your bar mitzvah.
A month later, it was all over.
But when you went to school, like regular first grade, second grade,
First grade, second grade.
did you go to a Jewish school or?
No. for public school.
Public school. And
There was no Jewish school. It was cheder.
but you didn't go to a cheder.
No, it was cheder, but you didn't go because you didn't have when to go.
Did you learn a lot of things at home?
Most of it.
The reading Hebrew?
No.
No.
They were reading Yiddish, you know,
Yiddish.
the davening. That's about it.
So you learned how to daven at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The house was religious. The house, very
Mhm.
observant. You know, there was no light and matches or anything on Shabbos for the oven. The Shai gets used to come in 2 times a day, sometimes on Shabbos.
So what do you remember from being a child before the Germans? What are your big memories? Friends, fights, loves.
No, there was no fights. There was no fights.
You're not a fighter.
There was no fight. There was the only thing what we had. My brother bought himself a horse. He bought himself a horse, and so we used to go out with take the horse, go out in the field, ride around with that horse, play around. There was really a Jewish town.
What other things do you remember?
Not really. Used to have a lot of uncles, grandfathers, and their grandfather was in another small town. He had a little farm.
Whose father was it?
For my mom's side.
What was his name?
I know the family name was Persis.
When you say Kaddish or Yizkor for them, what do you say for your parents? You say the son or the daughter of so and so, no?
No. And you know, one was in this town. A town over was another uncle.
What town was there?
The town where they lived was Rogiv. Was about a half a day drive by a horse and buggy, and the other one was a little bit farther away. He was the rich one. He had a lot of land.
They're all farmers.
A lot of land.
This was another uncle or a grandfather?
Uncle. He was blind.
Oh.
But with his blindness, he knew everything. What's there, what's not there, what's not. If he went into the stable and he went to his horse, he had a special horse, and he touched it, you know, pet it, and he calls the guy, he said, "Come here." He said, "You did not clean my horse. He did not wash it. He had his own mill, you know, the mill was turning to make flour, stuff like that. You know, horses, cows, you name it. He had everything over there.
And he was the rich uncle. What about your father's parents?
No, I never met him.
Where did they live?
They were with lumber. You know, like lumber yard. They were something like this they were doing. That I know, because Uncle Leo, but he was in the army, came out. He was working in that lumber yard. That's why I remember the lumber yard.
Do you remember, did you have any animals?
The only animal was the
The horse.
horse. No dogs, no.
Did you have toys, bicycles, anything?
No.
Nobody had.
Nobody has things like that. Even the neighbors, I didn't see him having something like that. It was a coal mine town. No, the couple buildings for there was only for the coal miners.
So, of your family, can you tell which kids remind you of which of your siblings or parents, or who is?
I didn't really know anybody of them. There was one.
Your brother, your sister, or whatever, all of them, any of your kids or grandkids look like any of them?
Not my kids, no. We had one, that rich farmer, he had a daughter. She got blind. I don't know, I know something happened to her, they died or something. She could sit and read books day and night without stop. No stop.
What's the name? What was the uncle's name?
I don't remember.
So let's go back to where we stopped. You were going now, the Agana, the Etzel, the Irgun, were coming to the camps, and this was now in the mid-late 40s?
This was right in the end of 47. The end of 47 when the British were leaving. The British were leaving Israel and we were already there.
And so how did they convince you to go to Israel?
They didn't convince me, they just said, come, you go be in a Jewish land, you don't have to with the Goyim, with the Germans, with this. You know, a lot of young men, a lot of kids, you know, my age, were at that time what they volunteered to go, because they wanted to get out of Germany.
Where were you? What camp were you? Where was the camp?
In Germany, Bergen-Belsen.
Even after the war, you stayed there? You didn't go to a DP camp?
There was no, before the war, thing. We got from the train into Bergen-Belsen. This was the war was go any day, end. No more war.
So you stayed there. Bergen-Belsen became a DP camp.
Bergen-Belsen, the big town close to it is Hanover. That's where the people get now. The ones who were, the ones what they gets the money from Germany is the ones when the British came in and took over that section.
Yeah. So you got to Israel what year?
47.
And who went with you?
A lot of kids.
But of your family, your brother?
No, nobody.
So you had Leibish and your other brother, what's his name?
Lewkowicz moved in Germany to a town Wilhelmshaven.
When?
After the war. They were together in Bergen-Belsen, and then he decided to go to Wilhelmshaven, that's close to the Holland border.
Why?
Over there, it was buying cigarettes and bringing into Bergen-Belsen.
So black marketeer.
Sell them.
Yeah. And
Then in Bergen-Belsen, we got it with a couple of guys, you know, with meat. Go to the farmers, get a cow, and they bring it into the camp, they kill it, and they sell the meat to the people.
Yeah. Entrepreneurial business. What about your other brother? What's his name?
Tuvia?
Tuvia. What did he do?
He was with the beef, with the cows, with the other brother.
So when you went to Israel, did you ask them to join you?
No, they didn't want to go because they was planning maybe to go to England, maybe to go to Australia, maybe to go to Norway, because over there they were taking.
Yeah. So why didn't you go together with them? Why didn't you want to go together with them?
I didn't want to go because I said, I've been up with the Germans, with the Goyim. I'm going to go to a Jewish country. This way I don't have to hear from the Poles, Jude de Palestine. I don't have to hear it no more.
So when you arrived in Israel in 47?
47.
What month, you remember?
It was we arrived, the British were going out.
Was it 48 or 47?
47, 48.
Yeah.
But we already got there before the British started to go out.
Yeah.
We arrived at a boat from Marseille to Hadera. About 12 miles, maybe 15 miles offshore. They picked us up with boats.
It was illegal.
Illegal. But we came in legal because the British gave passports to all the ones who wanted to go to Palestine.
To a quarter, only a small amount.
So they gave us the passports, but what the Israelis did, start to get off the boat, they took all the passports.
Gave it to others.
Take the picture out. Today you Yankel, tomorrow you Moshe. So long as you picture and you know your name. Because they couldn't ask for driver's license or for identification because that's all what you had. And so in Hadera they started to do imunim in the night.
Training.
Training.
They put you in the army.
Straight and no the Machano Olim over there where the Olim come, you know, the Mabara. No Mabara, no nothing, straight to the army.
Where did you sleep? Outside in tents? Where did you sleep?
Where?
When you were in the army, you slept in tents or in?
No, blanket on the floor, you sleep.
In a building?
No, outside. There was bunkers made for us to hide. So in daytime, the British were traveling back and forth so they don't see us.
So it was in bunkers?
Because if they see us, if we have no passport no more, they can take us back.
So you were hiding and training. How many of you were there?
About 30.
30. And
You know,
you're the commander? You're the commander?
We used to walk from Hadera to Herzliya, Hovaya.
On the beach?
In Herzliya, when they started to build the hotel, the first hotel in Herzliya by the beach was 4 posts in the roof. That's it. 1 story. You go now, there's 5, 6 hotels probably, or more than that.
Yeah. So, this is, you were 30 guys, and how long did you train there?
About until the British left completely. And then they took us in farther to the cities.
So like a few months and then British left and then you were official in the army, a real army. And then the war broke. Now,
Well,
did you have any family in Israel? No.
I don't know, they took me, I don't remember I was there recently. I tried to find a place where I was, but because it was the holidays, they couldn't go, we couldn't do that. I wanted to go, what I remember, you know, like you look at the picture, you made that picture, you remember that picture. What I remember, they were in Rehovot. They came from the Tel Aviv side, something like that, or Rehovot. When you go out from Rehovot, when you come to Rehovot, the road splits up. to the right, you go to Beersheba, towards Beersheba, Yad Mordechai, you know, those places. When you go a little bit to the left, you go on that little road, there was a village, an Arab village, but the Arabs left. Past the village, on the left side, was like a kibbutz, mushav, something was over there, because it was Jewish people. A guy came out, and he says to me, started talking to him, I said, Chednish, Hebrewish, Ched Yiddish, Polish, and a little English. So he took me in the building over there. He said, go to sleep. He said, we'll wake you up later. He woke me up around 11 o'clock maybe. And outside there's a truck. It was not built high, the back was not high. It was very low about, that's the floor of the truck, was maybe that high. He says to me, he took me out, there was like a mark from the tires roll. He says, disasters, material. He says, you get in the truck, don't put the light on, get in the truck, you follow those marks until you come to a little, like a river or something. He said, go down and go up, and go right away left. And maybe it's 500 feet, 300 feet. It's a gas station. Geisterhof, voor rechts. And
You could have ended up in Jordan.
And he said, put the foot to the pedal, put it in first gear, don't take it out, no matter what, just go. And I start driving. I see on the left side a burned truck, on the right side a burned truck, a half-track burned. He said, don't stop for nothing, just keep going straight, follow the road. Now I know it calls Abu Ghosh and this and this. He said, when you come into Jerusalem, there's people who go and wait for you. But if you hear whistling, don't stop, don't pay attention, it's not for you. It's where bullets coming from down from the wadi was sitting the leg, the
Legion.
And I got in the city as a couple of soldiers, police, people in civilian clothes. They stopped me. He looks at me, he looks at what's on the truck. So he says, "Yesh lanu neshek."
We have weapons.
So the other guy says, you see, this is ours Hamattenfleisch. Basar Totachim.
Cannon fodder.
That's what we were calling us. Why? No father, no mother, no brother, no cousin, no uncle, nobody. Who's going to cry after you? You're dead, that's it. Nobody going to cry after you.
So how long have you done that?
Twice. And then they took me to Coast Machane Schnelle.
In Jerusalem.
Over there was a while. From over there, they took us down, I think it was Mushava Germanit or Katamon, something. That facility. There was a camp, with the soldiers, what called Gdud Moria. Most of the kids in Israel Or the older people don't remember that name, Dude Moria. After a few days, we were supposed to go out and conquer the Monanatsiv. So we went there, we got there on time, conquered what we were supposed to conquer, and for the other side was supposed to come soldiers from Machane Schnelle with the officer. Once they got to the point where they're supposed to start fighting, the officer, as he walked out from the truck, he got shot. The guys didn't know what to do, so they went back to Machane Schnelle. And from our camp, from Dud Moria, 60% of 70% of them got killed. I got shot then. When I passed the line where the bullets were coming maybe 1 foot above the road. So once you cross the road and you lay down, you're in good shape. So I went there. Then I heard my friend of mine is calling me, help me, help me, help me. He got shot. So I turned around, go back to help him. I got shot.
Where?
Right there.
Where were you shot? Where were you shot? In the body?
Here, the front.
In the stomach?
Yeah.
Inside?
Yeah. I fell down. I couldn't carry him no more. And I was calling out all for, cactuses and this, bleeding all over.
You thought it's over?
And I said, well, I'm finished anyway, what's the difference? So I'm looking, I see like a barrack. I said, I crawl over. If they kill me, they kill me. I'm dead anyway. What I got to lose? Chayalim.
Your soldiers, Israelis.
Israeli soldiers. And I was already out cold. And over there was a Yemenite kid. I know, I saw him when I got out from the hospital. He was maybe 15, maybe 16, driving a half-track. And they said, well, he's dead anyway. He grabbed me, threw me on the half-track, and he flew with me to the hospital. I was in the hospital 2 weeks. I didn't know if I'm alive or dead. The only thing what I found out, the doctor came in and with the nurse, and he says to her, he's still alive? He was supposed to be dead a long time ago. He said, no, he's alive. But he speak Polish, the doctor and the nurse. So when the doctor walked away, I was so halfway dreaming, and I called her, and I stopped. I said, proszę pani, chodź tutaj. So she came over and said, rozmawiasz po polsku? Do you speak Polish? I said, yeah. And I said, where you know Polish from? She said, I'm not Jewish. I said, how the doctor? He said, he's not Jewish.
Really?
He was with the Polish-British Brigade. The Polish-British Brigade was stationed in Jordan. When the war broke out, he escaped to Israel with her.
Interesting.
Now, I don't know how true it is. So Begin was in the Polish-British Brigade.
Not the Jewish brigade. Not the Jewish brigade?
Polish. The Jewish brigade was fighting. They were fighting in Italy. But Begin was in the Polish-British Brigade. So,
Sure.
so the only reason that Polish doctor and the nurse came over to Israel, I think because Begin was there and they were friends. Otherwise, why would a Polish guy go to Israel except if somebody tried to persuade him to go?
Yeah.
Because Begin probably knew Israelis doctors. No, it was okay, but there was a lot disarray. A lot of people got killed for nothing, for no reason, because it was not organized properly. And you know what? It was between the Jewish themselves our problems. Between the Haganah, between the Lechi, between the Etzel, between all of them. The problem started right away. Ben Gurion wanted to be that Haganah conquered everything. The Etzel said, we don't want that, we just want you to come take over. You know, what the Cherut did, a lot of fighting. What the Haganah didn't want to touch it. Used to go to Eilat, to Malaya Krabim. A lot of kids got killed in Malaya Krabim because they didn't have the experience of driving. And to go to Malaya Krabim, to go up,
It's the road that
was so
drops down.
Not just drop down, was so narrow. Any curve, any turn you have to make, you have to go a little bit left, a little bit back, a little bit right, a little bit back, and then go around. Until they noticed that too many kids got killed. So they put one soldier on top and one on the bottom, so that one soldier doesn't go down and the other will go up, then they both get killed.
So you were driving.
When I came to Eilat the first time, there was a 4-post, a little tent with cold water.
So this is now taking you through the war, and where do you find yourself at the end of the war? What are you doing at the end of the war, but after the war ends?
When I worked for a while as a madrech, teaching the new students to drive. And then after that, I got released from the army completely. So I worked as a civilian for the army for a while.
This is 1950 now?
Back in the 50s. And after that, then I went to work to a private company, driving a truck. So we used to hold all kind of things from the Arab villages. Fruit, vegetables, stuff like that. So I worked about 8-9 years in the Mishulash.
Near the same area where you almost died.
And not just that. I was a lot of kibbutzim. They had a contract with Nova. But a lot of kibbutzim were desperate with cash and thing. So what they used to put away some of the produce and sell it to private people. So I used to go the Galil all the way up to the last point, pick up one over there, take it to Tel Aviv to the shuk. Sometimes go here, I was to travel all over the kibbutzim.
And this is for yourself or for somebody else?
No, for somebody else, I worked for somebody.
Did you also do some business for yourself?
Not really. A lot of guys got rich with that by cheating and stealing.
You have to remember that this is the time where the tzena, where the But there was no food. There were, what do you call it? The rationing.
Yeah.
So there were people were allowed 2 eggs a week and
No,
2
not,
potatoes.
not in Israel, not that I remember that.
In the 50s, Tzena.
But in
In the 50s
in
were,
the 50s I was still in the army.
but in 55, 6, 7, 8, that there was
No,
rations.
I don't remember it was rationing.
Yeah, it was a black market thing, right?
Oh, black market, yeah.
But there was a rationing. People had coupons. You couldn't buy as many eggs as you wanted. You were only allotted a certain amount
Well,
of
because-
eggs and bread and
Because
chicken.
most of the eggs was going to export.
Right.
And it was going, where was it going to? To Czechoslovakia,
To get arms.
get arms from Czechoslovakia.
Mhm.
So
So where do you live in that time where you are a civilian?
I lived for a short time in Ramle.
How? What? Where?
There was one of those Arab homes. My brother's in his wife's apartment.
When did they arrive?
They arrived, I think, in 52, maybe 53.
This is Tuvia with the meat or Leibish with the cigarettes?
No, to me. Levush never came to Israel.
Where did he go?
He went to the United States.
Uh-huh. So Tuvia now comes in 52 with his wife
And a son.
and a son. How old? Son?
The son was maybe 3, 4 years old.
And they live with you in Ramle?
Not with me. I lived with them. It was their apartment.
In Ramle. In an Arab house. In the old village town of Ramle.
Yeah, but it was in the middle, in the heart of the little city.
Now this is the Arab city of Ramle.
It used to be.
Now when you lived there were no more Arabs.
No,
They all left.
all left.
We helped them leave.
Left everything and they left.
So you live there and you work with your truck. Well, not with your truck, with your boss's truck. And your brother, what does he do?
He was driving a truck too.
Okay.
It was driving. It was called Sand or something from the Tel Aviv area into Jerusalem.
So now, when do you meet your wife?
Oh, we lived in Ramla. She lived with me.
When did you meet her?
We met in the army.
Oh, so
She came as a student
from Yemen.
to the army.
When did she come to Israel?
They came in the early 40s, something like that.
So she was already speaking Hebrew well, and she was.
Yeah, yeah.
So when she met you, you were still little Polisher.
No, I already knew Hebrew a little bit, because I was working as an instructor, teaching them how to drive. That camp was in Sarafat.
Yeah.
So she was assigned, she wanted to be a driver,
Also?
so she was assigned there.
So you instructed her?
So she was assigned to my group,
Uh-huh.
and that's the way we met.
So who liked whom first?
She was pretty good looking and all that, but you know, the problem was you couldn't make a date with her because her brother was always behind.
Ah. So how did you make your move?
It took a long time. We went because her base was in Yafo,
Uh-huh.
and because her brother lived in Yafo, so she got the job to be the driver for this particular general.
Mm-hmm. So her brother was with her in your base? No.
He was working someplace, but he lived there.
So what do you remember? What was the first thing that broke the ice?
Oh, he told me, you cannot go with my sister.
And what
I
did you
have to
say?
come with you, or her sister has to come with you.
On a date.
A date.
You were already dating.
Yeah. It was not easy.
So how did you convince her to
Well,
that you're the right guy for her?
I don't, convince her how that happened, because was going out together, or work, right?
Working.
So it worked out. But, then started, the brothers, was every night, how's it going to work out, how it is. And the was were telling me, why are you going to marry a Schwarzer? Why you not a Weißer? I said, leave it alone. Schwarzer, Weißer, she's a Jew, whatever.
Kibbutz Galuyot. And what was her name in Israel?
Ahuva.
Ahuva.
Not Ahuva.
No,
Hannah.
Hannah. Right, I know that. And she kept that name when she came to the United States also? Hannah. And was after you got married, what year did you get married?
In 52, something like that.
And then she lived with you in the house in Ramleh.
For a while, and then, she was started to work for a lady in Tel Aviv, Berchov Lazarov. She was designing dresses, very high-class dresses, expensive dresses. Hannah knew how to sew good. So the lady took her for a test, and she liked the way she was working, and she hired her.
So she went every day from Ramleh to Tel Aviv to work?
Yeah, it was not a big deal.
Well,
It worked out okay.
so you both supported each other. And Ahuva was, who was the firstborn?
Morris, the son.
What year was he born?
He was born in 52. In 52, Ahuva was born about 3 years later. Now, who was born April 8, 52 or 53.
Ahuva?
I don't even have the dates.
How old is Ahuva now?
Ahuva was going to be in the 60s.
60.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
One way or another, pretty close.
Yeah. So, how long did you stay in Israel?
No, wait a minute, no. Ahuva was not going to be 60. Morris just turned 61 or 62.
Right.
Well, if Morris is 62, she might be
58, 59. Now, so how long did you stay in Israel? Until what year?
59.
So what was your life like between 52, 3 when you were in Ramleh and what happened then?
And I was, most of the time was spent always in the reserve, Sav Shmone.
Miluim. You were in the reserves.
So, you were 1 week at home, 1 week and 2 months in the army. So,
yeah.
Back and forth. I fought in the Sinai.
57. What did you do in Sinai?
And I was driving a truck, hauling the soldiers back and forth, deliver, supplies what they need.
So you were driving that. And did you support the family? Did you lack anything? You had everything?
Well, we had, we were making a living. Nobody made.
But you didn't lack anything. You didn't miss anything.
No, not
You had food. You had house. Where did you live then? After Ramleh?
After Ramle, after Ramle, you think I remember?
Yerushalayim, Tel Aviv, Rehovot, where?
No. It's interesting because I think if I'm not mistaken, I think in Tel Aviv someplace, if I'm not,
Okay.
I don't know, but
And so after the war,
but then from there we moved to Shikul Chirut in Ramat Yitzhak. At that time I was working for a Misrad Ovala Nagia.
the transportation of
Yeah.
the company.
So I used to go back and forth, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Beersheba, deliver whole stuff. Bring it from Haifa, from the harbor, from the ship, right away on the truck, and deliver to places. There was food, but no problems, because when you work with farmers, they always give you
Something to eat.
something, take it home, take it home, take it home. There was always fruit, there was always enough food.
So why did you leave Israel?
It was her problem.
Hamas. Why?
Why? Because I told her, don't look to neighbor's grass, look at your own. I says, I don't want to know what he has. I'm not interested. I said, I don't. She said, well, why don't we move over there? You're working 15, 16, 18 hours a day. Sometimes you're not coming home for 3-4 days. She said, get up, stop working. I said, if I stop working, how are we going to eat? He said, we can move to America. You get a job over there. So you work 8 hours and being home. Every day, the same thing.
Your brother is in America now?
My brother was in America.
So you were in touch with him?
So he sent a letter, and I said to him, I want to come, but I need papers, security papers, that I'm not going to fall on the governor's back, He worked for Turner Brothers. They were making furniture, all kind of furniture. And he was working with them, building, go to other places, building in the stores or offices, stuff like that. So they gave him a guarantee, if I come,
I'll give you a job.
they give me a job and I don't have to be supported by the government.
Wonderful.
Took that paper to the consulate to get a visa. He looked at the paper, he said the paper is fine. He said the problem is he has to be waiting for the Polish because for Poland was a big list waiting to go to America for the quarter. So he was looking and he says, where you were born? So she gives him the British passport. Oh, he said, you got a British passport? Oh, you born Court Princess, Somaliland. So you're from Somalia? He said, yes, that's where I was born. Well, he said, if that's Somalia, he said, you can go tomorrow to America.
Your wife?
But, so you and your husband, the children, you can go tomorrow. He said, there's no quota. The quota is open.
It's only from Poland that it's a quota.
Said, you can go tomorrow. I said, you go on that quarter. You don't have to go on the Polish quarter. So that's what we came at 59. So my brother picked me up in New York at the harbor, you know.
You came with the boat, of course.
With the boat.
How long was it on sea?
Oh, about 10 days, more than that.
How did you feel on the boat?
Okay.
And your wife, Hannah?
She was okay.
And the kids?
And
Morris and Ahova?
Morris was okay. Ahova, we almost lost her. She started to play. And that was an old ship, you know, Kedma. So many holes in the going crazy. Finally we found her sitting plane with the toy. And you know, when we got to New York, they wind up in the where the immigrants will go if I forget.
Ferris Island.
Yes, island.
Ellis Island. Ellis Island.
You're not getting in like that. Then they took the X-rays pictures.
Against tuberculosis and whatnot.
Check you again. So because sometimes people were taking a friend or neighbor, you know, take
The picture.
the picture. They were checking. So, okay, too.
Did they put you with DDT?
They gave us the paper, free to go. So with all the paperwork, Social Security, the green card, and all that.
So how did you feel when you were all of a sudden free in America with your brother?
Well, then I had to go register with the what do you call those? With the army here, you had to go register.
Uh-huh.
So he said, okay, you got 2 children, they gave me a release, they gave you the paper, said if they need you, they call you. I said, fine. So here, you know, I worked for a while.
With your brother?
I started to work with a friend of mine, not with my brother. Then I talked him in to go into the business.
Your friend or your brother?
My brothers. So the older brother says, well, I cannot show a guarantee that I pay for things because I'm just here half a year.
That was Leidish.
No, Tony.
Tovia.
Tovia, not Levi. Levi was working already almost 2 years.
So Tuvia went with you at the same time?
So what's happened? Finally I persuaded him to get a gas station, and Levi signed the papers because he had the guarantee, and it was going okay. But then after a while, I was working in a factory. I was doing pretty good because all the work I was doing, what 24-hour shift couldn't produce, I produced more in 8 hours than they produced in 24 hours, all 3 shifts. So the Polish guys, and they started to get angry with me.
Because you're doing too fast, you make them look bad.
It was not the question too fast. It's the question, the way I had the press set up. You know, you have a form, and you put a piece of metal in that form, and once the press goes down, that piece of metal is going to be like the form is.
Stunts.
So, a Goya Shakov is a Goya Shakov. There's nothing you can do about it. So, they were making rods like this rod here, give you an example, with the hook on this side and a hook on this side. So I was looking at that press, the way it goes, and I said, well, if it goes so, and I hold my foot on it, it goes faster. I said, go try something. So this is the press. I put the pieces in, and I took a board from here to the pedal of the press. I took a drum, an empty drum,
Sit down.
and I folded it like that. Put over there something that was laid on it. And then I put my foot on the pedal, and the pedal, and as it hits it, I grab it.
And put the new one.
This side put this one in, and this side puts in the barrel. The foreman came by and he said, how are you doing that? He said, you look, you you're only 4 hours working, you already got more than they. I said, well, I was told that whatever pieces I make more than the requirement, I get paid extra. He said, yeah. I said, we need the product. He said, we need to get it out. We got a big order. I said, well, how many you need? I said, I can make, maybe 3,000 in about 2 hours. He said, fine, do it. Those products didn't know what I'm doing, but then they looked. But when I was going away for my shift end, I took the thing so they don't see it. So I was doing good with that. You know, it was a week I was making, $60, $70, $80, $40. It depends on what they want me to do.
Instead of $20 that you would otherwise.
So, the reason was the factory belonged to Polish people. And when I started talking to them, when I registered for work, I asked me, where are you from? I said, from Poland. I thought it's Polish to him. So they thought I'm a Polak. So he gave me the job.
He didn't know you were a Jew.
No, he gave me the job.
When you found you were a Jew.
No, then later on, they knew I'm a Jew, but they said, no, we hate to lose you. You're doing a good job for us. We needed the material very badly, those things. They couldn't have enough delivery to make, but you did a good job. Why don't you show those products how to do that? I said, I can show it to them. It doesn't mean it's going to work. He said, well, try it, please. He said, we need, I know you're going to leave pretty soon because you told me that you might go in your own business. I said, yes, I'm planning on it. I'm not lying to you. But I'd be more than glad to show the guys what to do, how I am doing it.
Did it work?
So I showed it to him. There was 5 guys, only 1 guy knew what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I said to him,
that's what it takes, 5 Polacks to do one Jewish work.
so I said, so he said, why is it like that? I said, well, I tell you why. I said, when I get the check on Friday, I'm going home with the check and give it to my wife, or I go to the bank, I put it in. I said, when he gets a check,
What's the drink?
he goes to the tavern, or he goes play the horses. That way he doesn't have nothing. I said, and that way he can think straight what he has to do. He said, yeah, I said, that's our big problem.
So this is like when you came 1959, 60?
59, and Hannah started to work in downtown. But
Where was it?
my fair lady,
Where was it?
they were in downtown Chicago.
Oh, so you're in Chicago already.
Very big company. The cheapest dress what they were making for the movie stars, for the actresses, was $2,000-3,000.
At the time.
So Hannah worked there. She was doing pretty good. And then came over. There was a place in Chicago called Maxwell Street. Maxwell Street is like a flea market, but it's not a flea market. Who owned it? 80% of the Maxwell Street was owned by Jewish people. And everybody did something. So one guy came over and he said to her, you know what, how about if I send you every week so many pence, but what I need you to do from the pence to shorten each one of them with a nice
Cut.
With a nice cup. He said, for every pen you go make, he said, I give you 75 cents to $1. So she said, yeah, I take it. So she started to do that. And at that time, I left the Polish people and I went to work for a company, forgot the name, what they would do making. And the owner was a Jew. The owner was a Jew.
Yeah.
The owner was a Jew. The foreman in the factory was a Goy, a Polak. And I applied over there for a job. And I got the job. So I don't know what kind of product they were producing. So he gave me a bunch of drill bits. And he put me in by a press. He said, you go drill with this drills. He gave me some metal. He said, to do that. So I said to him, okay, how do I work that? I said, is this a piece work or is it day work? You know, make you quarter what you have to make and you're done. He said, no. He said, you can make as many as you want. You get prorated and different price. I said, okay. So I started out with the drills, you know. Went by her all day. The drill didn't work, but it was not sharp no more. So I called him over and I said, look, the tip is good. I said, I can drill. So he says, why you got all the drills here? I said, I didn't know that. He said, that's the way they work. He said, they got me in touch with some good people. And I was doing very good business. Very good business. I was doing for a while I was doing, you know, for the city, towing cars.
That's a good business.
At one time, I had about 15 trucks. Used to buy every year new trucks, because the city were paying good. They were driving 24 hours a day, especially in the winter time. I do very well. So, you know, it worked out okay, you know.
So during this time,
And then
Hannah is working, and
Hannah stopped working in 1975, 76.
but this business now is still in the 60s, or is it already in the 70s?
No, I sold it. I sold it before I came to New York. I sold it, the whole thing.
No, yeah, but you arrived in 59, you work, then when the guy tells you to start your own business, what year is that? To buy the property? When did you buy the property?
Oh, I would say it was about right around the 60s, something like that.
Yeah.
In this,
How many years was it after you arrived that you bought the building? The property?
about 5 years, 6 years.
So, yeah. And
It was a time I had 3 gas stations. I had tow trucks,
wow.
but I didn't have enough property where to park all that until I got that. That property had room for about 120 cars to park, plus a facility for maintenance.
So you did good.
And
And Hannah stopped
also
working.
I started to got very comfortable with the insurance companies. The insurance companies, I made us a good reputation, never doubted me. Whatever I said, they went on it, except you brought the estimate from somebody else.
Yeah.
And I said that's the estimate is way over exceeded. They didn't pay it. Whatever I wrote on this, that's what he paid.
So this is now end of the 60s, early 70s. Hannah stops working. How are Morris and Ahuva at that point?
We go to school,
What school?
sure.
Which school? Jewish school?
No,
Public school?
public school.
Mhm.
Ahuva wanted to go to Sunday school for Hebrew and stuff like that. I went over to the rabbi, and he says go, because I can't remember, $700, $800 a month, something like that. And I said to the rabbi, I can pay, but I cannot pay so much. I'm just starting out. I said, you have to give me a break. I said, later on, if I start doing good, I'll be more than glad to give you whatever you want. But I can give you now.
So,
So, well, if you cannot give me now, then we cannot teach your daughter. And I said, you know what? I was taught that a synagogue is open for everybody who wants to open the door to go in. I said, where I come from, the rabbi never asked for money. He said, just come davening. I said, are you telling me if I cannot pay, you cannot teach it? He said, no. I said, okay. Then she doesn't have to be a Jew. I said, forget it. And that was happened. That they not go. So that later on, I was starting to do good. So Hannah decided to go sign up to be members of the Iranian synagogue. But all the years, we had 3 chairs, but we paid every year for the whole year to be there. In case Ahuva comes with their kids from New York, they can go Shabbos, davening, they have where to sit, all that thing. One time, the rabbi asked, every time there was something, I always was there. One time the Rabbi Weiss, he was an Ashkenaz, but he was in charge over the synagogue since they started it. And he says to me, you know what? Why are you not coming to the synagogue? I said, Rabbi Weiss, I used to come with my wife, but I got so disgusted that I stopped going, and that's it. He said, why? I said, when I come to the synagogue, I love to hear the chazan sing. I want to hear what you have to say. I'm not interested that people sitting from both sides and talking money, business, money, business. I said, and I can hear nothing what you say. Because when you talk, their voice goes up higher, so his friend can hear what he has to say. But he doesn't care what you say. I said, I'm not coming. He said, okay, at least you're honest. You're not a hypocrite, like them. They park the cars 2 blocks away and they walk over. He said, and they do you a favor, at least you, when they need something, to build something or to fix something, they need the financial support, you're always there. You never said no. If it's a party, liquor, this, you're always there. And your wife, I said, God doesn't ask you that you have to pray in the synagogue. You can pray in your mind. He said, it's just as good as you come to the synagogue. He said, I know Hannah is sick. He used to come every Friday with the shofar to the house to blow the shofar.
So now you are established, you have security, you have a house, you have a business, you have kids. How did you look back at your life now? You're a guy who got shot in Israel, who almost got killed by the Polacks and by the Germans.
You know what?
How did you look back at your luck? And you have 2 brothers with you.
Yeah, I don't look back. I don't want to look back for the bad time. I don't want to make myself headaches. I'm glad I have 5 grandkids, 6 grandkids, and 2 grandkids. Well, I love all of them equal. To me, make no difference. To me, they're all equal. I don't have any prerogative which one is better or better. I treat everybody by his age. I make sure if something happens to me, everybody got something put away on the side. Nobody can touch it. I mean nobody, except themselves. That's my instructions.
Wow.
Nobody else, only them.
So now you moved to New York, how many years ago?
I came to New York in 2001 or 2.
So for about 12 years you lived in the same building with your daughter Ahuva, and you help her every day. And on top of that, you and Ahuva raise Eliezer, and
well, she helped a lot. Okay.
well, both of you.
Yeah, she helped a lot. Well, first they were living with me before they came to New York. The reason they moved to New York came, Hannah wanted me to send the children to go to religious school. And I said to Hannah, okay, I said, if you would be well, everything would be fine. I said, you need to understand. I said, it's a simple thing. I said, when you go to a religious school, there's mother meetings. The mothers come to the shul, they sit down, they talk, you know. I said, I'm not a mother. How am I going to come to the synagogue and there's 50 mothers sitting and my kids don't have a mother? I said, how's it going to look? I said, I cannot do that. So she said, so what are you going to do? I said, I don't know really. I said, right now. I can't make a decision, I don't know. I said, Ahuva lives in New York, she doesn't live here. So what do you want me to do? She said, well, I'm going to talk to Ahuva. I said, good, talk to Ahuva. So I said to Ahuva, said, yeah, I said, I will help. But she said, I'm not leaving New York. I said, my kids are born in New York. All their friends live there. They go to schools, since kindergarten, they go to school together. She said, I cannot change my kid's life. I'm sorry. I want to help, but I can't do that. You want me to help?
Come here.
I have to bring the children to New York.
You're talking about Maurice's children.
I said,
You're talking about Maurice's children.
right, Eliezer and Danny.
Yeah.
I said, okay, come pick him up. But so Eliezer was at that time 5. I was supposed to sign him up for school. So I went to public school to sign him up in Skokie. And I said, wait a minute. How am I going to sign him up if she wants me to send him to New York? So I called up Ahuva. I said, okay, come, take the kids. She said, Dad, I'm going to try. I'm going to try. But you know, the kids don't know me. They know you. You the mother. You the father. You the grandfather to them. You everything to them. Said, what do you think will happen if I take him away from here?
Smart. So you came with them.
I said, okay. I said, you take him. Get somebody to help you. I said, and if you go and need me, it's going to be that bad, then I will come. I said, I cannot liquidate everything what I have overnight. That doesn't work like that. He said,
So it worked out today.
so what are you going to do? I'm going to get. I got no car. I said, come, I'll buy you a car. So she came, I gave her the Ford Escape. It was a new car. So after a few months, Dad, it's not working out. The children, they're waiting for you, they're crying all the time. I can't do nothing.
So finally, you
I
came to
I
New
said,
York.
okay, I'm going to come, stay a few days, calm them down, talk to them. So, that was happened, but she had a lot of problems with Danny and with Eliezer, with the medicines.
She was working very hard.
So I had to come. So I had a couple of people who wanted to buy the business. Their credit was not so hard, was not so good. So I said, you know what? I took my foreman and the girl who worked in the office. They both worked for over 20 years. I said, I tell you what. I said, I'm selling to you to the business. I said, you pay me half the price rent what's the market value is. I said, and you do whatever you want. I said, you're going to pay every month to my lawyer, you rent, stay as long as you want. If you decide you cannot deal with it, so call me, and I put it on the market. Well, we got no money to buy it. I said, I know you got no money. I said, my lawyer already made a paper. I sold you the business name, not the property, business name, for $10,000. I said, it's only on paper. I said, you don't have to pay me. It's only on paper.
Right here. Hi, how's it going?
Come on. No.
Well, and then we're selling the property and he's moving to New York.
Oh wow, sorry, I didn't mean to talk.
So I gave him the property. They signed the papers. My lawyer puts right away in the paper, no longer responsible from this day to all the way to the no longer responsible for any damage or anything, for
Okay.
bankruptcy, stuff like that. I'm no longer bank. And I let them have the business. I said, you and you,
And they bought the business, and they kept it.
2 years later they went bankruptcy.
Yeah.
I got stuck with it, with everything inside. So I had to go back to Chicago, sold all the equipment inside with everything. And what's happened, I had to clean up. They had a problem with the environmental because it's
I understand coal and everything.
not just coal, oil and stuff, if it's not leaked in. So you have to get a special company to come.
So what happened at the end?
What's happened?
You sold the building. You sold the business.
I had a doctor come in, he wanted to buy the building and the piece of property because he wants to make because there was a hospital not a block away, he wanted to make an office over there, a private thing. Start writing, made a deal, 1,200,000. Within so many days, it's yours. I have to clean out. So we worked, then he comes back a month later, he said, the property what I have in this place, and right on the waterfront. He said, something didn't go through right. He said, I got a problem. I said, so the lawyer told you don't have a problem. He said, all what we need to know, you don't want it. While he goes out, a half hour later, while he's preparing the paper for him to sign, 2 Polacks walk in. We heard that you in charge over that property on Western Avenue and so. He said, yeah. He said, why? He said, well, I want to buy that property from you. So he said, well, the property is sold, really. He said, because a doctor bought it to buy it. He said, how much did he give you? He said, he didn't give me nothing. He said, I still got the paper. 1,200,000 he offered. Now, I don't think I want to sell it, he said, because something going on over there. We're only 5 minutes away from downtown. And they're remodeling all the streets over there. There's something going on. He said, property is going up. He said, there's the new stadium for the baseball, there's this, there's a stadium for the Bulls. He said, wait. So the guy said, how much do you want? Give me the price, he said. He said, you make me an offer. You know what I got. You make me an offer. He said, I give you 1,300,000. He said, not good enough. He said, how about 1,400,000? And that's fine. Puts his hand in his pocket, pulls out $100 bills, $300,000, $200,000. He said, here's a deposit. The lawyer said, well, I have to ask the owner. He said, ask him now. So he calls me, he said, I said, Bernie, take the money. Forget about the other guy. He said, make business with the guy who has the money. Took the money, so the guy says, so the lawyer tells him, it's going to take a while. We have to get the environmental company to come. No, nothing. I don't want nobody to touch it. I do it. So sign the paper that you take the responsibility. No problem. Took $200,000 deposit. He had him sign the papers. He says, you don't have to clean nothing. I go do everything. So that's what we did. So wind up with over $1 million to get for it.
So, away from selling property and whatnot, we traveled a long distance from the 12-year-old guy in the camps and Israel and here and there. When you look back at being a husband, father, a grandfather, all that that you've done,
You know,
would you have done anything different?
yes.
What would you have done
Definitely.
differently?
I would make sure that I don't have not to worry about future, because I was going like in the olden days, okay? The kids work, don't care about school, don't care about nothing. Go to work, we have to put food on the table, we have to pay rent, we have to pay light. That was the olden days. And that's the way I was brought up. I got married, I got 2 children,
You had responsibility.
I have a responsibility. Put clothes on the back, put food on the table, put a roof over the head. Yes, I could have gone to school, I could have gone to England, I could have gone to Australia, I could have gone to any place. But I chose to go to Israel.
So what would you have done different?
What was done different? I would take more time off to go to school to learn more, to learn what I didn't do, because I was working 14, 15, 16, 18 hours
What
a day.
would you have learned?
Learn better, you know, to read, to understand better things, you know, that I get a good education for my kids. Not,
You got a good education for your kids.
well, I did everything what I could, forced them to do things what I couldn't do, that I couldn't allow myself to do it. I didn't have the time to do it because I was worried about the future.
So you're the
To prepare.
you're the generation who made sure that the next generation has everything.
Right.
Well, that's your generation. You cannot regret that.
No, I don't regret it. You know, I don't, you know what?
What would you have done different aside of that? In terms of raising the kids, in terms of how you were with Daniel and Eliezer, with Maurice, with Ahuva, with your wife.
I would do difference, you know, with the marriages, with this, with the problem was the friends here, the generation, the generation is growing up without any brains to have. I give you a simple thing. Morris had a bad accident. He broke his neck.
When?
Was 65 in the 70s. Was winter. Somebody cut him off. He slid with the truck. He broke his neck. Everybody said he's going to be a cripple for his life. Went to a couple of professors. Everybody checked. Everybody did that. Everybody said he's going to be in a wheelchair. No any other way out. So we got the telephone number for somebody and a special doctor, but he was dealing only with athletes. We went over to him. He said, I need to see him. He take a look at him, and he says, here's a paper, go to this and this place. Give him that paper, I want x-rays from him. So he said, no, we have already 3 x-rays. He said, I don't want to see it. I am not interested. So I wouldn't mind. So he took a look at it. So he said, I take you. But there is a condition. He said, and I'm going to talk to you in the front of your parents, in the front of the nurses from the hospital. And then I walk away, and he will tell you who I am.
I'll let you plug in your iPhone.
He said, I'm the worst doctor you ever saw in your life. He said, if you refuse to do what I tell you, I don't even have to start to operate on you. He said, because when I tell you tomorrow morning after the operation, I come to your room and I say, hey, Morris, get up. And you don't. Did the nurses tell you what I do? I flip the bed over with you together. He said, because I don't let my